Good morning, everyone. This morning, we were supposed to have Sensei Calvin here to speak, but unfortunately, he was called away. So what you see before you is the flip side of the 45, which is the B side. So it's the B team here to speak this morning. And so what I wanted to talk about was my message I had given to Marysville last month. And it happened to be right on Father's Day. And so I just wanted to let you know that I have two sons, and thinking about Father's Day, I thought about my family. And I thought about my two sons, Jeff, 34, Russell, 31, and both live in Los Angeles. Jeff has been there for 14 years, and Russell has been there for 8 years. Jeff, thank goodness, manages merchandise sales at the California Adventure Park in Disneyland. So if you ever go there and buy merchandise and you think it's kind of takai or expensive, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it goes towards paying his salary. Russell works as a waiter for a restaurant called The West, kind of a high-tone restaurant in Brentwood near UCLA. And in his spare time, he does video editing as a side job, a field in which he's seeking a career job. In addition, Russell's trying to become a personal trainer as he is into physical fitness. You know, I still remember the birth of both boys and will always cherish the wonderful times that Shirley and I had with them as they grew up in Sacramento. For me, those were the happiest times. And I can't believe how short the time was with them growing up. Time really waits for no one. And I truly miss those days. You know, when I'm reflecting back about being a father, I found the following quotes about being a dad that really hit home with me. And I think both mothers and fathers, parents in general, can relate to these thoughts about being a parent. So here are those thoughts. Involves transition from being someone who is selfish to someone who becomes selfless. Causes me to accept the fact that it is no longer about me. The greater good of family is far more important than how many goods I possess. Means that just as soon as you have figured out some aspect of parenting, you have to learn another one as the kids keep changing. Involves knowing that your kids are watching and listening to everything you do and say. Teaches you to survive with less sleep, since your kids will get you up during the night when they are younger and will keep you up at night when they are older. Requires you to remember that once upon a time, you did the same senseless and stupid things as a kid that your kids do today, and yet you somehow still survive. Prepares you for hearing the word again, over and over, when you do something fun with the kids that is physically draining for you. Is the scariest accomplishment I have ever achieved, and by far is the greatest accomplishment I will ever achieve. And as a father, I am so fortunate to share my love with and receive love from my family. So as you can see, many of these sayings incorporate various aspects of the Buddhist teachings. I hope these thoughts have brought back some wonderful memories for you. We will always worry about our children, no matter how old they are. I will be 100 years old, and Jeff will be 70 years old, and I will still worry about him. Shirley and I have done the best we could in hope that they will always be responsible citizens and live lives that embody the teachings of Amida Buddha. Last month, unfortunately, marked the 4th anniversary of the passing of my cousin's husband, who committed suicide around Father's Day. To this day, and for the rest of my life, I will always remember looking at his coffin buried 6 feet in the ground. Years later, the only thought still going through my mind is what compelled him to tragically end his life and abandon his wife and 6 children. The family had discovered a letter from Matt explaining how being fired as a partner in a law firm caused him to lose his confidence as a person and the will to live. If Matt had been familiar with the Buddhist view of life, he would have known that in Buddhism, life is precious. It took untold myriads of causes and conditions to allow each individual to be born. And to take your own life prematurely is, for me, and I believe in Buddhism, unacceptable. You know, with Buddhism, Matt may have been able to deal with and eventually make peace with his dilemma. The Dharma could have made Matt realize that suffering from despair and anger regarding losing his job is a natural human reaction, and failure is a part of life. No one will always be successful in everything a human being does. During his transformation from being an employee to becoming a partner, success made him arrogant, resulting in ambition and greed blinding him. And with that arrogance and success, that cockiness may have possibly turned into laziness. Laziness that may have contributed to Matt losing a very important case, resulting in a successful malpractice suit being filed against him and the law firm. After the firing, a sense of failure completely overwhelmed him. For Matt, his only path to ending the suffering was to end his life with total disregard for his family. By throwing away his life, he cheated his family and forfeited their love and support. Now Matt will never be there for his family when they need him. He will never hear, feel, or return the words and acts of love ever again. By not saying goodbye to them, there will always be an open wound within the family. In an enlightened Buddhist state of mind, Matt would have realized that it wasn't all about him, and that he still possessed life's most important treasure, his family. With his Dharma eyes open, he could have seen that his success and happiness were really based on his family's successes and failures. The foundation of a successful family unit based upon the relationships between husband, father, wife, mother, and the children. Everyone together relying upon each other to experience the good times as well as the tough times. As we all know in life, we can't have one without the other. And with failure, it is okay to make mistakes, since we human beings are not perfect, but we can be resilient in rebounding back from failure. Having everyone together to support and sacrifice for each other so that each family member could thrive in his or her own way within the oneness of a family. With this understanding, Matt would have understood and appreciated Reverend Ogui's statement where, quote, "One life is not based on what we do for ourselves, but is based on the sacrifices and support from others," unquote. With that profound perspective on life, Matt's Nembutsu, or deep gratitude, would have allowed him to always cherish his life, a life where he could play with and love his children and possibly grandchildren. With his connections to them, he would have realized that they are the real legacies of his life, his greatest achievement, his finest moment, answering the question, why do we have a family? For my cousin's family, life goes on 4 years later, and I am very happy to report that each member of Matt's family is doing well. Matt's wife is working full-time at a high school, and more importantly, has found a wonderful companion whom she could share her life with and love with. Daughter number 1 completed law school a few years back and now has a successful career with the federal government. Or son number 1, who found his dad in the backyard moments after he shot himself. He has finally found himself while attending college and will be graduating in a few years. He is now engaged and will be married later this year. Daughter number 2 graduated from UC Berkeley and is living and working in New York City for a magazine company. And I'm told she's doing well. Daughter number 3 is just finishing up her enlistment with the Marines as an operator in an attack helicopter unit and will be returning from Afghanistan this summer to resume her civilian life at college. Son number 2 graduated from high school this year and received his Boy Scout Eagle badge. He will go on to college. And finally, son number 3 is entering high school. And by all accounts, he also seems to be very happy at the moment. You know, after 4 years from that initial shock, each one of them has realized that life is too precious to throw away, and that there is a great big beautiful world out there that awaits them. They have come to the conclusion that it is up to each individual to make the most of his or her life, knowing that life's challenges will always be a part of life. With the Buddhist teachings of right view, thought, speech, effort, and mindfulness to guide us, we can overcome our suffering associated with greed, anger, and ignorance, and create happiness and peace within our own lives. The choice is up to each one of us to face and to overcome those challenges. Please join me in Gassho. As we live our lives facing these challenges, all of us can achieve our fullest potential. We may feel at times that our lives may be predetermined, but in truth, the path we follow will always be of our own choosing. We should never allow our fears or let the other people's expectation of us set the frontiers of our destiny. Although that destiny may not be changed, we can certainly challenge it. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.